Good morning, everyone. Morning from here in the USA. My name is Grace Elebute. I am a military veteran, a military community advocate, and a humanitarian. I work on several platforms and I work with several nonprofits to try to get the message across the world. And my initiatives are built on women empowerment as well as human rights preservation.
All right, thank you very much, Grace. Now, the curiosity where we're going to start from is about passion, because we can see a strong passion from what you do, in that you really believe so much in what you do, which have to do with your passion. Now, how did you develop this passion? Is this something that you had before you went to military service, right?
Yes,
Okay, before you went to military service, or something that you got after that, or you got it in the service?
I've always been, I would consider myself a lifelong humanitarian, even when I was younger, when I was little. But I think it developed when I was in the military because I was able to hands-on actually experience and help out needy communities. So I think that's where my passion grew larger when I did that work in the military. But I say I've always been a lifelong humanitarian.
Is there anything that you would like to share with us in the service? I don't know. Yeah, yeah,
That's
please
right.
go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I'm a Navy veteran, the U.S. Navy veteran, the strongest Navy in the world. And like I said, I went into the Navy pretty young, but honestly, it's probably one of the best decisions I think a young person can make. It's grew me into who I am. It's made me into the success that I am today. And like you mentioned, I think the main job of the military is to protect the nation, both home and abroad. While in the military, my duty stations were mostly actually in the Pacific area of operations, which is where I think that passion for humanitarian work really developed a lot. Being stationed in Japan, traveling to countries like Indonesia, uh, South Korea, Malaysia, Thailand. And that's where a lot of my humanitarian work began.
Now we are looking at you going there to defend the country, and now you are out of the service. You are a veteran. You
Yes.
are sort of also defending the people, but in a different way. So I'm trying to see, is there any kind of comparison that you can have between what you are doing now and what you were doing then?
So I'm a Navy veteran. I'm also still a Navy reservist, which means that I can be called up to active duty if needed. I'm not an active reserve status, but I can be called if the country was to need me. So I'm still very connected to the military community. I work with veterans every day. I also happen to be a military spouse, so I'm strongly connected to the military spouse and military family objectives as well. And one of my missions as well at home here is empowering military spouses in their careers. A lot of times as a military spouse, it's your career that, kind of takes the back burner because your spouse is that star, that active duty person. And a lot of military spouses don't get to pursue their actual dream or fulfill their career. So one of the things that I do in my initiatives is to help military spouses start up a business. As we know, entrepreneurship is something that you can take with you anywhere in the world. So if they're able to be entrepreneurs, then it doesn't matter where they find themselves or where they're stationed, they're able to have a fulfilling career.
Mhm. Thank you very much for that, dear Grace. Now, the service that you do, your humanitarian service, is this something that is strictly limited to the military veteran, or it is military veteran is just part of it?
Absolutely not limited. I think mine is actually, it's easy to say it's a two-part. So I have a civilian sector initiative, and then I have one that gears to strictly to military families. Like I said, the military families one, it's just because that's the community that I come from. So it's giving back to my immediate community. My my personal nonprofit, which is called the J Initiative, which is an initiative I started 5 years ago, when my son was born, that caters mostly actually overseas, where we provide educational resources and educational material, back to school supplies to kids in Nigeria. So it's a twofold sector for me.
Mhm. Thank you very much for that. Now, I'm taking the argument a little bit beyond the military, and I'm looking at the African diaspora community because that is where we are actually concentrating on.
Right.
Now, looking at the situation of most African Americans, quite generally, the African diaspora, how do you see the importance of connecting and networking together across different divides today?
I think it's very important. I'm a first generation Nigerian, so I understand the importance of connecting back to the native country and giving back to Nigeria as well, especially in today's world and in the state that Nigeria is in. I think like that a lot of Africans in diaspora, we need to come together more. There's still a lot more work that can be done, and we can do more than we're doing now. I know people are giving, a lot of people send money home, but we have to reach out to the community as well. It can't just be our immediate family or immediate surroundings. There are a lot of people in the motherland that need that help, and we can be that resource. And it doesn't matter how little it is. If all each African in diaspora can do is change one life, I think that's a huge thing.
Thank you so much, my sister. I really appreciate the good work that you are doing there, and also promoting the good image of Nigeria there, and of course the Africa diaspora at large. Now, talking of connection, what do you think should be the right form of connection that should be established among the African diaspora? Because now we are looking at the African diaspora, not just the only one, not just the one that have migrated from Africa to Europe to the West, but we're also looking at those that were taken there by force. So we're looking at a huge community in Brazil, in other parts of the world. So what kind of connection should we put together? Because at the end of the day, we all do know that we need to connect, but sometimes there is a lot of impediment that is not allowing us to connect and able to do things together as a people. So I'm trying to understand, what do you think should be the right way of connection?
I think that's a huge question, because what I want people to remember, and like I said, I'm a first generation Nigerian, so I can tell you firsthand that there's still a lot of resentment between Africans and African Americans, and I'll speak for the United States where I live. So I think in order to make that bigger connection, we have to start small. And when I say start small, I mean the immediate diasporans who have a direct connection. For instance, someone like me who has a direct connection to Nigeria has to be the start of that initiative. Okay, I have to lead by example. So if I'm able to show my fellow friends, my fellow African Americans in the US that, hey, look at the initiative that I started in Nigeria, look at the positive impact it's making on lives there. And I really think you should join me in this initiative. I think it's easier to bring on someone else who's not really like you, but who's able to see what you're doing. So it goes back to the saying of charity begins at home. I have that direct connection. I need to start. Once I'm able to show, then I'm able to easily convince my fellow African American to say, hey, join me in this initiative. Because in the end, we're all Africans. But like I said, there's so much resentment already between Africans and African Americans, to where first you have to bridge that gap. And I think the way to bridge that gap is to lead by example.